Hey everyone, this is Sean from 8-Bit Shinobi, and I'm live today with Liam Gibbs, the creator of In a Galaxy Far, Far Awry.
Hey everybody! I gotta say I don't know if you guys saw the countdown animation, but that was pretty mind bending.
Yeah, I was hoping one day when we get bigger, I'm gonna work on paying the fee to get my intro into the opening for this.
That would work. So how are you doing?
Oh, good. Just keeping busy, keeping the dream alive, working hard and hustling.
You're almost a bar owner. That has
Yeah,
got to feel good.
I know.
You're Think about it. You're almost a bar owner.
That's living the lifelong dream of owning a bar.
And kicking drunks out.
Yeah.
Anyway, so okay, I'm gonna let you run the show. So hi everybody.
Right.
As you said, I'm Liam Gibbs. I write a how did I put it? It's a science fiction comedy comic book uh, space opera called In a Galaxy Far, Far Awry. So imagine if you're taking, I don't know if you guys, how far you guys go back. Imagine taking Spaceballs or Futurama and then combining that with X-Men or Avengers or something like that. Put all that together, and that's what you've got here. That's what we're talking about today.
Yep. So I got my copy of the mustache edition.
The mustache cover. I got it. It looks like a Freddie Mercury tribute cover. I got the regular one here. Imagine I own a copy of my own book, and also the mustache cover.
Yeah.
I don't know how many book series you can see that have an alternative cover that is a mustache cover.
I think that's pretty creative right now for the campaign that I'm running. I'm working on a book called Nerdy Cocktails and How to Make Them.
Yeah,
So
I've seen the posts.
I'm looking to do an alternative cover with my comic book character Kitsune. I have like a special cocktail. I don't know if you've seen it in the post. It's called the Foxfire cocktail, where you actually light it on fire, the drink on fire. So I'm gonna like have an alternative cover with the character drinking the cocktail, and you're only able to get that recipe for being the first 100 subscriber.
That works. I want to see this cover too.
Yeah, it's pretty. It'll be pretty epic. I just need to get the cash together to pay my artist because as cool as
Yeah,
for my artist to do the work for me, I like to get her. I like to get people on my team paid.
yeah. It always comes down to that.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what got you into writing books and comics?
Well, now we're going to be going back a while. So probably around. My parents told me I've been writing since the age of 4. So for all of you out there, that's been 10 years, right? Because I'm quite obviously I'm very young, right?
Mhm.
But I was writing since the age of 4, and my parents, sadly, they don't have those stories around. But so this idea has been coming around for a little while, and it kind of germinated from way back then. And my grandfather, when I want to say a preteen, I guess, saw something in me, and he kind of, he pushed me into writing, not overbearing or anything, but nudged. I guess he saw something in me, and said, give it a shot. Try your hand in writing. And he used to, I used to write. These were really bad stories. Obviously, I was 10, 11, 12 or whatever, and he used to read them back to me and give me some suggestions and stuff. And around that time, I was getting into comic books, specifically Spider-Man. And I was one of those people that used to watch the old Spider-Man cartoon. It was from the 60s and 70s. Everybody knows the theme song, Spider-Man does whatever Spider can. That's the one that obeys no laws of physics. And so when I saw the comic books, on the rack, and we're going back a long time, when comic books used to be on spinning racks. And I don't think they are anymore, but and I saw Spider-Man, And I go, that's the guy I saw on TV. So, I picked it up, and this was the one where he became cosmic.
Oh, that one was
Anybody
the cool one.
that?
Where
Oh,
he
I
took
love
on
that.
where he took on Magneto, all the big characters.
Exactly. This is the one. Who did he take on? He took on one of the B-listers. I think it was called the Trapster. Like,
Yeah.
this is literally Spectacular Spider-Man, and I keep forgetting the number, and I want to say 169, but I'm always wrong. I think it might be 168 or something. Anyway, and
There's
I picked that up.
actually getting back to that. There's they did a crossover event called the Spider Verse. I don't know if you're familiar with that. They
Yeah.
a couple variants of Spider Man. One where he kept those powers.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, there's one version where he kept the powers. There's one version where Uncle Ben became Spider Man. One version where Gwen became Spider Girl.
That was Spider Gwen, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, she showed up in the movie. My daughter loves her.
yeah, I got the covers for my daughter too. It was
Yeah.
the first one that came out. It's like worth a fortune because they didn't think it was gonna be so big, so they didn't make as many.
Okay.
So
And so supply and
I
demand.
got the variant cover, and I got it signed by Stan Lee, and I went to his booth that sold all his signed stuff.
Okay.
They were selling it for like 5 grand before he passed.
Wow.
Like you don't see it come on eBay very often. Like that's how rare
No,
it is.
5 grand. That was
Yeah.
one guy that I regret never meeting. Stan Lee. I regret it. I don't even know if I ever got the chance, if I was ever in the same city as he was or anything, but I regret not being able to meet Stanley.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but for me it was kind of like a dream. Like I grew up I remember watching the first X-Men cartoon that came out, and he
Mhm.
rated it. I'm pretty sure he did the Spider-Man and his amazing friends. I know he did. He showed
Yeah, like the intros.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I was fortunate enough to meet him twice.
That's good.
But it cost an arm and a leg because they're like, yeah, it's his last time coming to Canada. I'm like, okay, I just bought up a bunch of vintage comic books, got them signed and sealed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they're like
There's
pulling price.
there's your bar money right there.
Yeah,
What are you raising money for?
I would like to do that, but my I do want to pass it on to my daughter,
Okay.
to be like a family heirloom.
Yeah.
I would tell her, you're not gonna sell this unless you're buying a house or something.
You should hang it up in the bar. It's framed,
Yeah.
right? Like, is it
Um,
framed in like an actual frame?
I could show you it. I have my there it's I think it's kind of scammy, but like when you're getting these signed, like this one's the fan
Okay.
cover. So basically you're paying to get them to sign it, right?
Yeah.
You'd think it would come with something saying signed by Stan Lee or whoever,
Like a certificate, you
but
mean?
no, it's you have to pay extra to get that certificate, and some collectors are like, "No, that's not real. We want it to be like verified by said person." I'm like, "All it is some guy watching you while it's signed, and you're paying for it. You're paying for this service, and then you're paying for it." So but this didn't exist a long time ago. So I do have some that are signed but don't have the authentication label on it because
Okay.
they don't go to every convention. So what they did was they started this service where let's just say you have something that wasn't witnessed, they will scan it into the system, and they will scan it in. It's like something they use on court documents.
Okay.
So scan it in, and then they'll compare it to like 5 different copies of Stanley's signature. And okay, this is authentic. We got the loops where he pauses to go on and stuff like that. So then they're like, okay, this is now authentic. And for I spoke with a gentleman, and for indie creators like us, if we wanted to do that for our comic books, we could like sign it, send it off to them, and they will encase it like that and send it off like it was witnessed by a person because we're the author sending it to them.
Okay.
So it's a pretty great service. They're the only company that does but there's a lot of collectors that are against it. But I'm like, if they could prove that it's that, it should be good enough.
I guess so.
Yeah. So let's get back to your book series.
Sure.
So why don't you tell us more about your In a Galaxy Far Far Awry, some things that you're doing, what you've done to get this out there. Some
Well,
challenge.
I started it
Yeah,
with
go
a
ahead.
Kickstarter campaign back in 2015 because I was on Facebook, like half a zillion other people, and I came across one of my Facebook friends from the States was saying, I'm starting up a book series and I'm doing a Kickstarter campaign. And I thought, well, I got a book series just sitting around on my computer, and I'm sick of showing it to the same friends all the time. Why don't I do a Kickstarter series? And so what I did was, put together some business cards and sort of a kind of a modest campaign. I kind of took out a book from the library to get myself ready, and I kind of went into it not really knowing how to do a Kickstarter campaign, but I got lucky, or either that or it caught on fire or whatever, and I ended up getting financed. And not only did the first book get financed, but I got two of the books financed. So I put the first two books out because I don't know if anybody's been following along with my Facebook group or my LinkedIn group, but I've written well ahead of what I'm publishing. Like I've finished publishing right before COVID shut everybody down. I had book 6 come out, and I just finished writing book 23. So I've got a long, head start. So back when I, did the Kickstarter campaign, I had about 15 of these books ready. So the first and the second book were just ready to shoot out there like that. So I got the two of those done, 1 month after the other. And since then, like I said, I just finished putting out the 6th one. And anybody who just tuned in, we were talking about Spectacular Spider-Man when Spider-Man first got his powers. And if you notice, the cover here looks a lot like that cover. It's an homage. Here, I'm going to shift it over. The 6th book is an homage cover to that Spectacular Spider-Man. But instead of Spider-Man, we got this blue dude here. You'll find out more about him in the book. And then instead of the Trapster, you got these two guys down here.
Nice.
6th book out there, and I'm waiting on the cover art for the 7th one, and that we might have to hold off on that because as I COVID shut everything down. So I'm not sure how far along I'm going to be able to. It threw me off schedule. So I got the cover art coming to a book that might not be out for a little while, but I'm still excited to see the cover art. I've seen the line art, and I'm just super excited to see the final product.
Yeah, that's my series. I already have 10 written down already.
Okay, like planned out, you mean?
Well, it's already written. So as,
Okay.
as soon as this book gets like the artwork done, the next one's like ready to go, like boom, 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 and then I'll be
Yeah,
ready further along.
I find the cover art is the thing that takes the most money. Like that's the I can write, as long as I got the free time, I can write 50, 60, 100 books, but it's the money to get the cover going, to get the professional editing going and things like that. That's the kind of the bottleneck.
Mhm.
Otherwise I could push out as many books as I want to all at once.
Well, that's a great thing. what I've noticed is that with the crowdfunding and there's a big push for independent creators. I know some of the big creators that are like outselling Marvel Comics because they told the same story over and over again, and like people want something new.
People
Something,
want something new. I know.
yeah.
Whenever I think of sort of, I don't want to call him an underdog, but I always think of Robert Kirkman, the guy who did The Walking Dead. How it, and we're going back now 12 or 13 years. That thing came out of nowhere. And just kind of, he put it out on Image, and suddenly he's like, he's running Skybound. He's got the TV show going out. So every time I think of, like where could my book series go? When you dream about all these things, I think, one day, wouldn't it be cool if this thing was as big as The Walking Dead, getting its own TV show, getting its own, board games, video games, posters all over the place. Everybody knows about it. Showing up at events and having a standing ovation when you walk up on stage.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like I could picture that in my head. Like I'm reading this book in the staff room, and I'm just laughing
Yeah,
so hard. Someone walks in and they're like, "What are you laughing at? You gotta
you
read."
show them the book.
It's like I haven't laughed this hard in a while.
Good, good. I'm glad to hear it. That's what
Like
it's all about.
yeah, things aren't as funny as they used to be. Like it's like so like dry. You gotta watch what you say, and I'm like,
I
is
know.
the point of humor is to push the envelope a little bit, you know?
It's just there's so much melodrama and tension and angst out there. And everybody talks about how life is hard, and it is hard. Sometimes you just got to enjoy it. Sometimes you just got to forget, and just lay back and have just, a simple read, like something that isn't there to, you know, make you change your thinking or challenge it. There's enough challenges out there. I wrote my book in kind of for the purpose of just being able to kick back, forget for half an hour, however much time you've got, and just chill. You know, forget your problems. Read about somebody else's problems for a change. Read about something funny. You know, read about the bad guys versus the good guys.
Well, I think that's what it is human history. Like it's gone down from like the time of like the Greek mythology and stuff. We always I think mankind needs these stories to like make it through their day that someone somewhere is beating all these problems and that there's a person out there that's just like me. Like I think I kind of related to Legion, you know, kind of
Okay.
how all this technology and stuff doesn't agree with him and it's always not working out for him and he's all like, damn this L-Tech stuff.
Yeah.
Feel like that way too. Like the technology is great, but it's always like backfires.
Don't get me
Like,
started on Bluetooth. Don't get me started on Bluetooth. Bluetooth is my enemy.
like that time I first started the stream, I'm like, I practiced it. I did my own stream and it did it. So I think when I did like a planned version of this, it didn't go live. I had to hit the go live button, and I'm like, what's the difference? You know?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to, I mean, going back a couple minutes to what you said, sometimes it's just about getting through the day. And sometimes you just need to sit down, forget about work, forget about, you got to mow the lawn, forget about mowing the lawn, forget about cleaning up after the kids. Just sit down. You got 15 minutes, read a book, chill for a bit, re energize. Sometimes it's all about that. Sometimes it's just getting to bedtime.
Yeah. So, what are some things that you are doing besides the Kickstarter to get your series out there in front of the public?
Well, it's, obviously again, going back to COVID, it's a little bit on pause right now. But one of my favorite things is to show up at the Comic Cons and the geek shows and things like that, and just being able to interact with like the geek community and being able to just kind of show it off, answer questions, have people come up and just have regular conversations. Even just seeing cosplay outfits and stuff like that, and just being able to interact with the public. It's one thing to be able to put this through to a big publishing house that'll get you to all the bookstores, without you having to do anything. But I find that takes a lot of the fun away. I want to go out there and I want to meet the people. I want to meet the people that I'm writing for. And I like going out to people and seeing them and asking questions about, what they like and what they don't like. And, if they bought a book, and I'm catching up with them again, seeing how they like the book, seeing how they like the second book, and, getting feedback on some of the stuff I'm doing. There are people actually out there, and they come up to me and they have favorite characters that I've done. And that's a big deal for me, because when you have a favorite character, it's a very good thing, because people are investing they're investing emotion into these characters. Like, they want to see them live, they want to see them thrive. Some people, they have favorite characters because they hate them, but they hate them in such a fun way. Like that. It's almost like everybody hates Megatron. They wouldn't want to be around Megatron or Soundwave or Starscream, but they love the characters because they love to hate what those guys are about. And some of these people, they come up to me. There's one guy that actually came up to me and he said that Master Asinine, he's the main antagonist in the book. Master Asinine, one guy said he was his favorite book character ever. And that I was floating on air for like the rest of the week after hearing that. Some people came up to me to say, they're my favorite character, Ace Spandex. Some people like Schizophrenic. Some people like Power Plant. Some people Car Alarm. He's I never thought he'd catch on. People like Car Alarm. He's a robot that talks in car alarms. There's not much to him, and people are coming up going, he's my favorite character. I don't know where they, I don't know how they get attached to Car Alarm, but it happens, and then people are coming up and they're saying these things, and if I weren't doing the shows, if I weren't getting out there doing these shows, I would never hear these things. And it's a shame that COVID came down and decided, I hope COVID wraps up sometime soon, but it's not going to happen. But
yeah,
I miss going to these shows and seeing these people and being able to talk to them and interact with them. Them telling me, I love this. You gotta, hearing about what I'm doing wrong too. But people coming up and going, I need to get this autograph. There's one guy who came up to me one time and he said, every time I buy a new book, I go and I reread all of the old books. So that he's getting like the whole adventure all at once. So he goes back and he rereads them every time he picks up the new installment.
I like going back and rereading series. One time I was waiting for one book to come out, so I read the books backwards. I want to try something different.
But you'd read them already, right? Like, this wasn't your first time.
Yeah, I've read them all. I read them all.
Yeah.
And then I finished it. I was still waiting for the last book to come out. So I read them backwards. And usually when you're rereading them, you pick up things that you didn't the first time.
Okay, I think I'm going to try this.
Yeah. I
that
just
would be interesting.
Try something. I'm like, I still have to wait for the next book to come out. And so I started reading them. Yeah, so I know I feel you with the whole COVID thing. I honestly think that if we had Fanaticon in August and then Comic Con, I think I would have had a bigger launch, like more people signing up, the cash from the events to put towards getting Google ads and stuff. So it kind of
definitely. It's put a damper on, and it doesn't always come down to money. It's definitely put a damper on, being able to put money back in the series, and expand the audience. But it's also put a damper on our spirits, because Sean, I used to run into you every event or every second event, and we haven't seen each
Yeah.
other since February, January, something like that. And it's put a
Yeah.
damper on us being able to catch up with everybody, like with you, with all the other people that are at these shows. And I can't wait until everything is lifted. And I don't know what normal is going to look like when everything is lifted, but I can't wait to get back to normal and be able to get out there and meet with all of you again. Meet
Yeah.
with our fellow vendors, the readers, the people that just pop in and say what's up. And I'm almost afraid that some of these people, you know, I almost I don't want to say this, but I'm almost afraid we're never going to see some of these people again.
Yeah, well, I feel the same way too. I feel like it's more than just a business. I feel like it's a community. Like
It
everyone
is.
helps each other. Like I help you, you help me. I get help from all the other vendors. The
Mm-hmm.
our customers too. They'll tell us. I've gotten tips from people that have bought stuff off of me. They're like, "Oh, try this. Talk to this person." I'm
Yeah.
I'm talking to bar owners in the Toronto area, Waterloo, and they're just telling me what to do. They're like, price your drinks like this. Like if they're priced more than that, people won't buy them. And then it shows. I look at their Google reviews. They're like, you pay $5 to get in. That free play, drinks are reasonable price, all that. So it shows.
I can't wait until I can step into your bar. Now I don't drink alcohol. I'm a teetotaler, but I can't wait to just come in and play the games and visit and grab a Coke or something.
Yeah, well,
Play
I'm
with my
trying
friends.
to make the non-alcoholic versions of it.
Okay.
Because I just need to find like the flavors. So like for my banana slam, I'd need to find like a banana flavoring and like a coconut, maybe some like coconut water or whatever it's called. Just so
Okay.
it's like it tastes like Donkey Kong, the jungle flavors of the coconut and the banana.
Well, I definitely like what you're doing, like with the video game themes and you draw people. Like if somebody likes Donkey Kong, for instance, there's no way they're not going to want to try a Donkey Kong themed drink.
Yeah, we did that from our for our parties. We did like an annual Christmas party, and I'm worried that we won't be able to do it this year because like it is legendary. Every year we get the house more packed.
Yeah.
So I basically every year I do like Batman shaped cookies. I make a Walker gingerbread house, and then I make the themed drinks. I did blue milk cocktails, and then I just kept on learning to make them. And then the more you do it, the more you're able to like make them yourself, because I usually like I'll watch a video on how to do it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can do it differently. And then you start getting ideas on what I could do. So as soon as I started making them and tweaking them, I was like, you know what? I think I can make my own flavors of characters that don't exist. Are you an anime fan at all?
I have a lot of anime friends, or at least they used to be back when we had more disposable income. But so I might know a bit of what you're talking about, but I myself never watched them unless I was at their house.
Okay. What about trying to think of when I did
Like
that?
I know the big names like Astro Boy, I think Ranma Half or
Uh,
whatever, and was it One Inch Punch, or am I thinking of Kill
oh,
Bill?
One Punch Man.
One Punch Man. Okay, so I know some of the big ones, but if you're talking about something that's obscure, probably not going to have heard of it.
Yeah. You probably won't get it, but it's an anime on this character who becomes a spirit detective. He's basically a jerk. Like nobody likes this guy, and then he dies. And then they're like, he died saving a kid, and everyone's like, well, you weren't supposed to die. So they give him another chance. So he has to go through all these trials and because he went through these trials, he gets special powers. So then he hunts down demons, dark spirits, and then he teams up with other demons who are part human. So
Okay.
so I made drinks based off of the characters, and one drink is the character is part ice spirit and part fire apparition. So I added flavors. I There wasn't a drink out for this character, so I added flavors that would give the feeling of the iciness and the character's main attack, the black dragon, which is a dark purple. So I added peppermint, and then I added a bit of the cinnamon, the cinnamon. Blah, blah. Sorry about that. The
Yep.
cinnamon whiskey, the Fireball.
Okay.
When you're drinking it, you taste a bit of the iciness from the peppermint, and then you get a hit of the fire from the Fireball.
Okay. As
So
long as it makes sense, right?
yeah, and we even for to get the purple liqueur, I actually made it out of vodka and blackberry.
Okay.
So whatever you put on it, it'll absorb the flavor of the food that you're putting in it. So
Okay.
you could like the sky's the limit. Someone made a bacon flavored vodka.
Was it good?
As far as I know, he said it was good.
Okay, because I got to say, like everybody, I'm a big fan of bacon, but I never caught on to vodka. When I used to drink, and I drank up until about 5 or 6 years ago, I used to drink beer, and then if I wanted to go hard, I liked whiskey. And I was sort of getting into wine near the end, but I don't think wine and I ever really quite agreed. I hated rum. I could not stand rum.
For me, it was the harder alcohols that didn't agree with me because I was always used to beer and wine. Uh,
Okay.
Half Portuguese, you would basically whenever you're eating with your family, you would have like a glass of wine. It was basically
Hmm.
teaching like moderation. So you just have a little bit with your food, and you kind of learned your tolerance level. You're like, okay, if I have more than this, then then it's too much. So I'll be like,
Too much.
that's my limit. I'm just gonna stick to it.
Okay.
If if it's an event or something, then I'm like, okay, I'll throw that guide out the window and so I don't drink very often. It's usually one or two at the most.
Okay. I used to keep myself to beer, and I'd have the whiskey, on occasion. So I don't think my tolerance ever got like I think my tolerance was always kind of on the low end of average, maybe. Nowadays, I think if I have like a couple of drops of beer, I'd be out. Like it's been 5 or 6 years, and I think I had a taste of a beer once, and other than that, I kind of live vicariously through everybody else, and sometimes they'll let me smell their beer, and that's and then quite often I'll have to wait an hour before I drive home.
That's
I'm just kidding, but it's almost like that now.
uh, yeah,
I have the alcohol tolerance of a 3-year-old.
well, when they invent those self-driving cars,
Oh, then I'll be good.
yeah, everyone will be good.
Yeah,
I was talking to my buddy Tom, and he was saying that if these cars drive themselves, then insurance should be optional because it's not your fault if you crash; it's the car's fault, and that should.
I guess so. And I heard now that Google has a self-driving car, right? One or two.
Yeah,
I've heard, and
I
I
hit.
heard that it got into two accidents, I think, in the whole time, and both of those times, I think it's when a human took over. But I also heard somebody else was, and they were saying, and this makes a lot of sense now, um, kind of putting like a little bit of a horror story into this. So with these self-driving cars, what's stopping a hacker from hacking into a car and like a terrorist organization or whatever, and suddenly smashing a whole bunch of cars. Now the terrorist organizations can take their, and then obviously this live stream just took a really dark turn right now. We
Yeah.
should probably steer back in a bit. But what's these terrorists now don't have to be there to do their thing. They can just hack into a car, and then all of a sudden, the sky's the limit for them.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies you see where these government agencies or whoever will take control of a car just to
Yeah,
silence their enemies.
I saw this thing on it was on Amazon Prime,
Mhm.
and what was it called? And it was actually a pretty good show. It was a show. The premise was not about the self-driving car, but it was in the future. So the self-driving car was the inciting incident. It was called Upload, I think.
I
And
saw
the guy,
that that
you
was
saw that, and the guy, and the whole idea is that the guy uploads his consciousness into a computer after he died, and the way he died was somebody hacked into the car. And I'm giving it away. I'm sorry. I think I just spoiled it, but I think they go through this in the fourth episode, so it's not too much of a spoiler. But somebody hacked into the car and made it crash. And in the first season cliffhangers, we still don't know who did this or why. Anyway, so we should get back. People didn't log in so they can watch us talk about terrorist plots and self-driving cars, right?
what it happens. Get off
It happens,
topic.
yeah. Everybody, we're just having, it's two friends that haven't seen each other in 6 months are having a conversation.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's get back. What are we? Ask me something. Ask me.
All
Or do
right.
we have? Go
Um.
for it. Shoot a question at me.
So, what was the first gaming console that you've had, or
We had, and people are going to. I just told everybody, made a joke about how I'm 14. Totally contradicting that. My first console was way back when I lived with my parents. It was a ColecoVision, and I love that thing to this day. And speaking of Donkey Kong was on there. Zaxxon was on there. Mousetrap was on there, and I don't know if people know this, but the Mousetrap was a clone of Pac-Man with a couple of tweaks. Ladybug, another clone of Pac-Man. Pepper 2, nobody in the world has heard of that game except for me. Time Pilot was on there. Oh, I could go on and about these ColecoVisions. And then after that, I don't think I owned a console until I inherited a hand-me-down PlayStation 2. So I think I had like a 15 or 20-year gap of like not having a console around. Oh, but no, I did have a Game Boy in there somewhere.
yeah?
Yeah.
I liked about the Game Boys, like it was new to me, but now it's like so easy to play
Oh,
with a
it's.
friend.
I'll show you today's Game Boy. This is today's Game Boy. It's called a Galaxy. It's an Android. That's today's Game
we
Boy.
we used to we had the cords, so we'd attach them to each other and we play Tetris against
Head to head. Oh, I didn't think about that cord for. You just reminded me of that cord. Now, excuse me, everybody. Give me 30 seconds for a nostalgic moment. I totally forgot about the head-to-head thing. And I
yeah.
think you could play head-to-head Mario too.
Yeah,
I can't
there's a
remember.
bunch of games that you could. I remember there's a Zelda game where you can link up and play as a different Zeldas or something like that.
I
No,
think they
not
had a
Zelda.
Ninja Turtle game. And
I mean Link. Sorry, Link.
Link. Well, same
My
same thing.
mistake.
Yeah, it's. I
My
mean, whether you
brain
call
is
it Link or
just
Zelda,
like I made the rookie mistake, guys. Give me a break. My brain haven't had.
how's your viewership right now? Did it just drop? Everybody's logging off. I can't believe we made this mistake.
I, I think someone took away my geek card. I have to turn it in.
You
So
have to turn it in.
I have to find a
Just
way to redeem
hold
myself.
it up. Hold it up to the screen and shred it. So, what was your first console then? Mine is a ColecoVision. Let's see if you can predate me. How
I
far back do you go?
had
Do you go back to Pong?
I actually had an Atari system that was like a computer. So
Okay.
you would have it would plug in the joysticks. So I had like what's the name? It was like a Dungeons and Dragons game. So you'd get the wizard, the knight, and then I had double dragons. I had this game called Star Glider. You'd actually to play the game, you'd have to read the book at the certain passage and then put the code in.
Really?
And there was also a soundtrack that came with it. It's like this really 80s like spacey epic soundtrack.
Now I picture them giving us CDs with the game, but I know that's impossible because this predates CD. This had to come out on like a tape or a record, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my game, and then we cousin lent us the Nintendo. Then we got the Super Nintendo, and then I got the Sega, and then after that
Sega.
the PlayStation, and then since then I've been a PlayStation guy because I like their games because they're anime related,
Okay.
and they have a lot of unique games, and I feel like the PlayStation's been like more like creative. Like they're the first system that had the virtual reality games, which I thought was cool. They're the first system that had you'd be able to play your DVDs on it. Like I'm like, I don't
Yes, I remember that.
I don't even need a DVD player. I just need my PlayStation.
I remember because PlayStation, I think the games came on DVDs. So I think the
Yeah.
big selling feature for them was you could play movie DVDs when really they didn't need to add anything to it. They just wanted to tell everybody. And I think, and I'm probably wrong about this because I'm not a video game console expert, but I think PlayStation was the first video game console that really became its own market. You know what I mean? Like it really had like a cult moving around it. Like people, this is the thing that incited huge battles between the PlayStation camp and the Xbox camp, or the PlayStation camp and the Nintendo's got the Wii now. I was never a big Wii fan, but they got the Wii. All these camps, they're the ones that really put the divide between themselves and other consoles out there. I don't remember this going around when they had the Nintendo or the Dreamcast, where we had these dedicated Dreamcast fans and then these dedicated whatever else was out there at the time.
You know, I was actually kind of shocked that the Dreamcast ended.
Yeah,
Like, I found that when they came out with that, they were far superior to graphics than the PlayStation was.
really. I don't. I have no idea. I never owned a PlayStation One. I jumped into it on PlayStation Two, and I think at that point I was so late in the game that I think Dreamcast had come and gone, so I never really paid attention to even to this day. I have no idea which one's better, the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One or PlayStation 5, or how many PlayStations they have. I think they just released number 14 now, I think, right? Tell me it's 14 now. The PlayStation
That
14 and the Xbox
yeah.
8 million or something. I still don't know what has the better graphics.
I think they're very comparable. I played both, but like going back to the Dreamcast, I my buddy had one. So in high school, I went over to his place. We walked over at lunch. We played it, and I'm like, the graphics are way better than what my PlayStation.
Really?
Yeah. And I actually one of the arcades that I picked up, the confidential mission, it runs off of a Dreamcast engine, and it's like I find it's far superior the graphics than all the other ones that everyone knows about, like the Area 51, the
The
Time.
shooter games.
Yeah,
Okay.
like the graphics are better.
Well, don't bring down Area 51.
I mean,
When
it's
we went to
good.
the
Like
arcades, when we went to the gas stations, that was our game. We went to a specific gas stations because they had that game. I think it was the
yeah.
only game that made gas stations money on the gas. Like we go, no, we don't want to go to this gas station. We want to go to that. It could be 10 cents more per liter, but they have Area 51 in the kiosk, so we're going to that gas station.
Yeah, I remember at the school when we'd skip or during our lunch break, we'd go to the variety stores and they'd have the arcades and we just hang out there.
I just play these games.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I it ate up all my I'm pretty
Oh,
sure I put those guys in business because I buy the Yu-Gi-Oh, I buy the Pokemon cards, and then
okay.
the games I put my quarters in. So what I do is like every time I got lunch money or money for as a gift, I'd always put it aside. So when I'd go out to these things, I'd have a little bit of spending money.
Okay, for these games. Now,
Yeah,
okay, so I know you know Area 51. Do you know Police Trainer? Do you know
I,
that game?
I know that one.
Okay, that was another one of. I used to way back when I lived with my roommates, and I don't know if Bernie is online. Bernie, if you're online, hi. We used to go to, and it was called Midway. And I know Midway is a thing, but the name of this place is called Midway. And we used to
Yeah,
go to
they moved
Midway,
it
and we used
like
to.
3 times.
They moved it 3 times, and we used to play. There were two games, and we used to go there for these games. And one of them was Police Trainer, and the other one was. Do you remember that big X-Men game with the six
Yes, I have.
joysticks?
I have a story about that. When
I don't even know if it. I think it was to this day. I think the game was just honestly just called X-Men. Like it didn't have a
yeah,
subtitle. It wasn't X-Men Children of the Atom. Like the fighter game. I think it was just called X-Men, and you could play. They had the popular ones. They had like Cyclops and Wolverine and Colossus and Storm. And for some reason, I have no idea. They put Dazzler in there.
yeah,
Like they put like the footnote of X-Men. Let's just put Dazzler in there. Why? Why not? Put Dazzler in. And obviously is the worst voice acting in the universe, but we used to love this game because all you do is it's like
yeah.
X-Men, you're just beating things up.
Oh my God! Like, when you see Magneto, "Welcome to die,"
Oh,
or
welcome to
"I'm the
die.
master
Yeah,
of
that's my favorite
madness."
line in video game history. Welcome to die. And then he shoots them and then
Who
the
thought of that? Who thought
yeah.
of that? Where they just like they're like, I got like 10 seconds to put this together.
Yeah,
Welcome
welcome
to
to die.
die.
Who wrote that line? And you got to think, okay, and I don't know who the voice actor was who spoke that line, but how many takes did he have to go to get through that line without cracking without dying of laughter? Welcome to die. I think the only game that had worse voice acting than that game was the old Avengers game. I don't know if you remember that, like from 1990.
Yeah, I
You
had
know,
it. I played it on the Sega with my friend. We'd every time he'd come over, I'd play it. We'd play the Captain America and the Avengers.
that's the one. Yeah, and all the laughter in that game sounded like somebody was choking. I think they went to a restaurant. They go, "There's a choking victim. Get him on tape. We gotta get laughter for our Avengers game." Yeah, it was like
You can't escape. You will be the ones escaping.
Yeah, I know you will be the ones escaping. Great, that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to escape anyway. So let's get back to it. I mean, X-Men, Police Trainer, Area 51. There's a game called Narc, which I don't think anybody remembers except for me and like one other guy from like 1980, 88, which would look like they were trying to make a RoboCop game, and halfway through they couldn't get the licensing, so they switched it around and made it Narc, and it was just a big double dragon with guns thrown in there occasionally.
I know if you look the first Ninja Turtles movie, that arcade was featured in the Foot Soldiers hangout.
Their video game,
Yeah, if you
that was
look.
another good one. Turtles in Time.
Oh
I could
yes,
not get
that
enough of that.
was. I remember when I played the X Men with my uncle this one time. So we all put our quarters in, and I didn't realize that you had to put it in your specific characters.
Oh yeah, you
So
always got to put it in
I
your
was
specific.
putting it in my uncle's one. So I'm like, my character's not showing up. So I get the guy to come over. So he puts the quarters in my uncle's character, and he's like trying to get it to work. So my uncle figured it out, and he's like, he doesn't say anything until
Oh,
it
and
hitting
meanwhile,
his
he's got like
eye,
80
and then
lives.
he's like, I think you're giving it to me. And then the guy's like, okay, oh, I think it's he puts it in my character, and then
Mm-hmm.
so then we're playing the game when we come across Magneto. We're like, we'll let you go first.
Because he's got all the lives.
Yeah, so he became like our shield. So I love that game. I downloaded it on my my PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
came out. So that when it first came out, it was epic. Like you could play you could play with people from all over. But now it's no longer on the system, so you can't play it anymore.
It's a
Which is
shame these games. I love these games. These games are better than my son is playing Minecraft or Roblox or whatever the flavor of the month is now. And I'm looking at these games and I'm going, I just want to play Duke Nukem. I just want to play Duke
yes,
Nukem.
I
Like way
remember.
back in the day. I know Duke Nukem graphically was inferior to at the time it was Quake.
Yeah,
But for me, Duke Nukem was more fun. I didn't care that it wasn't real 3D graphics. For me, Duke Nukem was more fun than Quake.
yeah. It like for the time, like I thought the graphics were amazing.
For
Do you
Duke Nukem?
remember the yeah? Do you remember the
Yeah.
Star Wars version of it? The
Just
Dark Forces series?
don't remember it.
Yeah, it was basically your. It was like what do you call it? Doom. You'd go around shooting the stormtroopers, and then eventually it became Jedi Knight. So then
Okay. I know Jedi Knights.
You get the Jedi powers, and then they came out with the Jedi Knight 2, Outcast, and then the Jedi Academy. And then after that, they didn't make Star Wars games for a while until recently. I don't know what was up with that. I think it went on a hiatus because they had Star Wars games for everything.
It is probably came on right about when Force Awakens came out, I guess, eh? Just to revive everything. I don't know.
Yeah, they the what the one that just came out, the Apprentice one or whatever it's called. I'm trying to think of the name. Oh, the Fallen Order. It's really good. And what I
Fallen. I think I know that one. I've never played these games, by the way. The only Star Wars game I ever played was the one in the arcade, where this might have even been going back before the prequel trilogy. So this is like 1997 or something, but they had like this huge, you'd sit down in it. And
you mean this guy?
do you have,
Yeah, this
it
isn't
might have,
that one,
might have
but
been,
it has it has like the what do you call it? The X-wing controller.
like the flight sticks or whatever.
Yes, and it have the toggles on it.
I think, I think so. They had this primarily in movie theaters back in the day.
Oh yes, I remember that too. You go to the movie theaters, and while you're waiting for the movie, you play the
Play
video.
your games. Yeah,
Yeah.
or maybe it was after the prequel trilogy and they just decided to ignore it because I know they had Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, but they never had Phantom Menace or Attack of the other guys or whatever the other ones were, Attack of the Clones.
Mhm.
What was the other one called?
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah. Speaking of movies, now they got Bill and Ted is going to be coming out soon.
I
Taking like
heard about that.
yeah. Are you going to go see that? Were you ever a Bill and Ted fan?
I like I've it's something I've never watched, but I know I've seen clips and stuff. It's something I want to take my time to sit there
Yeah,
and watch them. I would definitely see that. Like
if you ever want to see proof that Keanu Reeves actually has aged about a year and a half, sit down and watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Because I swear, like comparatively, like Keanu Reeves never ages, but I think at some point he did look younger, and that's proof. And then of course you got the second one, which is all about like these little squat Muppets, and death comes in, and now the third one. I'm really excited to see the third one because we haven't had a Bill and Ted movie in it was in 1991, so we're almost 30 years. It's almost been 30 years. And if COVID hits again, it'll be 30 years until they put this thing out. But apparently it's coming out next week. And I know for me, taking my daughter to it, she's coming for me. She's not really I've shown her the movies and they didn't quite hit home as much as Ghostbusters or Transformers did. But I'm taking her, and I think we're going to wait until the end of the run, just so there are fewer people because you want to play it safe. Movie theaters are open, but it doesn't mean that they're safe to be open. So I think we're gonna play it out and see what the whole COVID atmosphere is near the end of its run. But if we feel good about it, we're gonna go out and we're gonna see this movie. We want to see New Mutants because I think that's been they've been trying to get that out since like 1972. And the other one is Black Widow. She really wants to see Black Widow.
Yeah, the trick to going to these movies I found is like going near the end of the run, but also going on a Sunday more like the first showing. It is so dead. Uh,
Yeah,
I remember when was it Teen Titans Go came out. My
yeah.
daughter's a huge fan of it, but we've never taken her to the movies. So I went during the day after it had been out for a while. I went on the first showing. There was like two
There's
people.
nobody there.
Yeah, it was just me and another people, but normally you go on the later shows, it gets pretty packed. The Rainbow Cinema in Saint Laurent.
Rainbow Cinema.
Yeah, I love that cinema. Like I remember back when it was like Cineplex or whatever, and we went to see Mortal Kombat for my birthday.
Mortal Kombat. Don't get me started.
Yeah. That
And
that
that's another movie that's coming out. So I think they just casted like a reboot, or I don't know if it's a reboot or a sequel, and sometimes I don't even know the difference between the two. But I think they just finished casting Mortal Kombat, I played Mortal Kombat from time to time. Never a huge fan, so this might disgust a lot of people. But I always like Johnny Cage, at least from the movie, because he seemed like the biggest smarmy. He had the biggest attitude anyway. And I don't
I
think
love Johnny Cage.
you love Johnny Cage, so I'm not the only
Yeah.
one, right? But I don't think he's in this one. I don't think they cast Johnny Cage.
Huh.
Yeah, which is weird because I thought he was one of the biggest stars of the series. But I guess they're not putting him in.
I actually watched the animated version called Scorpion, which kind of
Okay.
focuses more on Scorpion, but they're in it, and it was done so well. Like these animated movies are so much better than anything that DC's pulling out. Like the dark Justice League Dark, where Batman teams up with Constantine. Like it was so well done, and like the gore and everything was in there, and I'm like, this is better than a DC movie, and I think it had Kevin Conroy reprise his voice for Batman.
No, when
If
you
I'm
say
not
that
mistaken,
when you say the DC movies, you're not talking about their whole like what their DCU or whatever, right? Like you're not talking
yeah.
about Aquaman or Wonder Woman. You're talking about like kind of the lower key ones.
No, I'm talking about the live action movies in general.
Okay,
I
because
think
I
the
got to admit I'm not really a huge fan. Like I saw Suicide Squad and that was okay, but for me, I think the DC movies that the better DC movies I think were the ones that they weren't the big star. They weren't the Superman. I mean, Batman was great and everything, but it's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. It wasn't those. I think my favorite movie from DC of all time was The Losers, and that was great.
oh
And nobody's heard of The Losers.
I love that movie. Like
That
it
movie was
was
great. Like Negan's in it, Captain America's in it. Who else is in it? What's her name? Zoe Saldana. Is that
yeah,
her? Is that who it is? Yeah, she's in it.
yeah, she's in
And
it.
yeah, it was a great movie.
And they
And
got the
they
guy
got Aquaman and all that. I want to see The Losers.
I pay I would pay money to see another one. Like I would crowdfund that. I would pay for the crowdfunding if they came. Like I loved it. I'm like, why isn't there another one? This is so
Of The Losers.
perfect.
Idris Elba's in it. I think now, and I looked up The Losers on Wikipedia as the comic book, and I think what they did with the movie was they took the first 6 issues or something, but they have a lot of other like it's a whole series. So I mean, if they got the cast back together, they could do a sequel. They could do the next 6 issues or whatever of the losers. But I think Warner Brothers or whoever owns DC now, probably Disney nowadays, because Disney owns. I think Disney owns Australia now.
Oh, geez, what doesn't Disney own?
Exactly. What doesn't Disney? Disney does not own Mars, as far as I know. But whoever owns DC, I think they're.
Don't give them ideas.
Don't give them. I'm not trying to. But no. But whoever owns DC, I think they got their sights set on trying to copy Marvel's whole MCU thing, but they're not doing it so hot. But I think they've kind of left stuff like the losers behind, and I think it was kind of a miracle that they did. I think they're doing a Watchmen TV show nowadays, and I think it's kind of a miracle they're doing that because it kind of doesn't fit in with their whole Justice League motif that they got going on. But as far as I know, I think other than Wonder Woman 1984, I don't think they've got any. Did they plan an Aquaman too? I don't think they got any movies coming out.
I think there's a lot of controversy with the whole Aquaman thing with one of the cast drama between one of them. So they might be holding out until the court thing plays out. I don't know if
okay. I was always a bigger Marvel fan myself.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm thinking. That's why they're holding out with that one. Maybe they're waiting for the court thing to play out.
Okay.
The whole Johnny Depp thing, if you've ever followed that.
I know he's had trouble with Amber Heard, and I think if I was Amber Heard, I'd stay on Johnny Depp's good side because he and Freddy Krueger go way back. But I kind of stepped away from it. But I'm just looking forward to Spider-Man 3, which is still, I think Spider-Man 3 is still a couple years off, but that one in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, Thor. I hate to say this because I always have trouble saying it, but Thor 4. I always end up saying Thor, but that one's coming out at some point. And then what else have they? I'm still looking forward to those. I don't know what they're going to do after Infinity War. Like how much of a bigger threat can you get than the Infinity Gauntlet? But
I think after Infinity War, the stories weren't as good anymore. Like
I don't know. I
didn't care too much for Captain Marvel. Me and my wife felt watching that. The Spider-Man, I didn't like it as much as the first one. I thought it was just
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I thought Tom Holland was a great Spider-Man.
I liked him as Spider-Man. I just didn't like the movie as much. The second one.
I liked it. Like the one with Mysterio?
Yeah, I didn't care too much.
I liked the whole Spider Sense sequence. They're calling it the PD Tingle or whatever they called it.
I did like how they introduced that.
That was good, yeah.
The Spider Sense is basically what makes Spider-Man Spider-Man. Like you can't read a Spider-Man comic book without him saying Spider Sense tingling.
Yeah, without the wavy lines coming off his head like he's used bad shampoo or something. My whole take on the whole Spider-Man movies were that Tom Holland is my favorite Spider-Man / Peter Parker. I liked who's the guy, Andrew Garfield. I liked his Spider-Man, but I didn't quite get the whole nerdy Peter Parker thing from him. And Tobey Maguire, the opposite. I got the whole nerdy Peter Parker thing from him, but his Spider-Man was okay. But as far as the movies went, and I was never a guy like if you don't want to use the source material, great. But as far as the Spider-Man movies went, I thought the Tobey Maguire ones were the ones that stuck closest to home. And I appreciated that because they got everything in. Tobey Maguire was, as much as I prefer other Spider-Mans, he still was a good lead for me anyway, in my opinion. So I enjoyed those Spider-Mans the more. And I was really disappointed that they canceled Spider-Man 4 because they had, what's the guy's name? John Malkovich was supposed to play the Vulture. I thought that was perfect. I was really looking forward to this, and I was looking forward to Bruce Campbell coming in and doing his 45 seconds, and then they canceled it. But I'm liking how they did the current Spider-Man now with Tom Holland, and the only thing that I'm missing out on now was, and I know that this is all due to real life situations because I know that Robert Downey Jr. was signed up for only so many movies, and I guess he got tired of doing Iron Man, so they had to kill Iron Man off. But I'm missing that we didn't get to see more of the mentorship for Spider-Man. and Iron Man being the father figure that Spider-Man never had around, and so I'm kind of missing out on that. But again, I know how real life gets in the way, and Robert Downey Jr.'s got other movies he's got to make and stuff like that. So, but that was the only thing about the new movies that I was kind of disappointed we didn't get to see more of. I'm rambling on, I know.
Yeah. Well, for me, I felt what's that? Whatever. I felt like the new ones, it was more like he was he was in Tony Stark's shadow. Like
Yeah.
Spider-Man is more like I felt like the Amazing Spider-Man did a better job at developing Spider-Man with like him being able to use his brains to come up with like new webbing or something to beat the bad guy, because the bad guys were always stronger than Spider-Man, and he always had to come up with like a solution.
He
Like
did, yeah.
the beginning of the book, he'd get his ass kicked, and then either
He'd come back.
the second book or the end of the book, he'd come up with a solution. Like when he was fighting Electro, he put on shoes on his hands, and the rubber would protect him from the electricity. So that's how
Mm-hmm.
he overcame Electro.
I know everybody poo-poos on Andrew Garfield, but I actually like those movies. Out of the three series, it's probably my least, but that's you know it doesn't mean they're bad movies, and you have to hand it to Andrew Garfield for the way that, and I know that none of the other series did the death of Gwen Stacy, but I really liked how, and I know we're talking about the last 15 minutes of the second movie, but I really liked how they did the death of Gwen Stacy, and you really got to see how Spider-Man kind of just stepped away for a bit and he was mourning and stuff like that, and then at the end where he takes on the Rhino, as hokey as they did the Rhino up, like what's Paul Giamatti, great actor. The Rhino was a little bit kooky in there, but I liked that last 5 minutes. It made you kind of go, all right, I got hope for a third movie, and they never did the third movie though.
Yeah.
But and I think we're avoiding the whole elephant in the room, the best Spider-Man movie, which was Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes, I was about to talk to that. Like, it
Yeah,
was so perfect.
it was good. I liked it.
Like, why can't they make all the movies like that? Like, the story was done. They got the characters right. Like, I feel like every movie, there's something that they haven't got the character 100%. Like, there's always like little nitpicks here and there, but
Okay,
that was perfect.
it was good. Yeah, I've never read Ultimate Spider-Man. Excuse me, but I really like that one, and I like how they put Peter Porker in there. And then if you didn't watch the end credits, you did not get the best part of the whole movie with Spider-Man 2099 coming in,
Oh
and they
yeah,
did the sequence with the seven piece.
the pointing.
That was the best part of the whole movie.
Oh,
Was that?
I know you're not a gamer, but if you ever get a chance or you're ever free, I have the latest Spider-Man game, and
Okay.
it is done so well. Like all the things that you can do with Spider-Man, like it has a spider sense where you press circle, and he will like dodge. Like if there's like a bullet coming towards you, your spider sense triggers, and then you can do it. Or you can he can even web missiles that come at him and throw it back.
This is a PlayStation, right?
Yeah, the PlayStation
Mm-hmm.
one. Like it is
So
done so well. Like I think it's the best Spider-Man game to date.
that's what I've been hearing.
Like I actually got it on sale, and I'm like, this game is worth every penny because
Yeah.
it goes with the sandbox style where you could beat the game and you could just keep going. Like I could play this game forever, or you
I
could
like
like
those sandbox games. Like the
yeah,
first time, like when you go through the sandbox games, I think they're designed to make you want to throw your controller out the first time you go through a game. But then by the time you gone through the game and you've decided to go for the little bits and pieces, it's almost like you're walking through it.
Yeah.
Like some guy's shooting at you, and it's you're feeling it like a mosquito. Unfortunately, we got an Xbox One instead of the PlayStation. I still can't keep track of what number they're on. I think they're on 82 now, PlayStation 82. Last time I said there was 14, now it's 82. We got an Xbox One. I went and I talked to, I worked with a guy who, he's really into video games. And I asked him one day, because we were thinking about which thing to get. What should I get, a PlayStation or an Xbox? And 45 minutes later into his explanation, he told me it's pretty much up to your opinion. So we went with the Xbox, and I think it's because Xbox. My daughter was a huge Harry Potter fan, and so we got her a Harry Potter game, and my son loves Minecraft, so we got him a Minecraft game, and I got the Dead Rising stuff because I'm a Dead Rising fan. I mean, there's nothing wrong with playing a game with 8 zillion zombies where you can pick up a snow cone and kill a zombie with it.
Yeah, they're it's all about preference. Like I said, I'm an anime fan, so I like the anime games like Devil May Cry or the Gundam.
Okay.
What do you call that other one? The Disney one. I'm trying to think of the name of it.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
You should know this. Why should I know this? You should be knowing this game.
I haven't gotten much sleep. That's why I'm forgetting things.
Okay. I'll let it slide.
Yeah. So that's why I gravitated more to the PlayStation, and that was my first console that I got. Like when they went to the CD, that was like the first one I had the first one. So
okay.
It's kind of like brand loyalty, but I played the Xbox too, and they have some amazing games like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Like I like playing the zombie version of Call of Duty, but eventually it's a no-win scenario, which is why I liked Left 4 Dead. It's very fun. You can play with all your buddies, and it was just a fun time.
I haven't heard them coming out with a Left 4 Dead game in forever. I think Resident Evil kind of swept them aside, didn't they?
Yeah, there's a lot of games that just got left out there, like Half-Life. Have you ever played Half-Life?
Played Half-Life.
Yeah, that game was when we were kids. It was like I used to get nightmares from that game because there's this one scene where the face thing, it would grab you, pick you up, and then you'd see it like devouring you. You'd see the mouth just go.
That was the first one, right? Or was that both of them?
I've only played the first one.
That was the first game that ever introduced me to the concept, because all these other games like Duke Nukem and whatever, you'd finish a level, you're done the level, you go somewhere else, and you'd throw bombs at other places. But this is the only game that I think from start to finish, there's no, and obviously there's save points, but there's no level. It's just one continuous thing.
Yeah.
That was the first game that I remember doing that, and I thought, when am I going to end this level? When do I get a pee break? And eventually, I caught on to the fact that you're not going to finish the level. Just pause if you need to go do something.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hate to break it up, but 1:15, and I gotta get going here.
All right.
Yeah, but it was great chatting. We got to do this again.
Yeah, we'll do this again sometime.
All right. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And goodbye, everybody. Again, if you're thinking about,
take care.
You too. If you're thinking about the book series, In a Galaxy Far, Far Awry, you got the URL down here. Come visit with me. Come chat with me. I'm doing free deliveries in Ottawa.
Buy the whole series. It is worth every penny.
Thank you. And I got 7 books. I know I just said I came out with the 6th one, but I also have, hold on, where is it? Right here. I got also a 0th one. And if you're wondering what the 0th book, got that one. If you're wondering what a 0th book is, get in touch with me. I'll tell you what the 0th book is all about.
All right. Take care, Liam. It's good having you.
All right,
Take
we'll do this
care.
again soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.